can put it on the website, put it on the Facebook site.
Sure.
Yep. So people can read it and circulate it on the list. So I know Peter's really eager to do a skit.
David.
A skit.
David
Cameron. Okay, so let's hand over to you.
Cameron.
Hello everybody.
Boo, you suck!
And I'm very pleased to be with you today. Well, as you know, I'm David Cameron. And I'm very important. And I'm very important. And this here is Miss Cleggy. And Miss Cleggy, well, Miss Cleggy's not allowed to say anything. Actually, or at least not on anything important, like the economy or food or anything like that. So, well, from time to time I let Miss Cleggy, you know, utter a grunt of approval, and that's about it, really. So anyway, I'm very pleased to be with you today. And in fact, I'm not very pleased to be with you. I kind of got pushed along here by some of Sam Cam's hippie friends. They said, you've got to go on this event today. And I said, well, I don't want, what's this all about then? And they said, well, they're protesting against Asda. And I said, oh, that's brilliant, yes, okay, I'll go along with that. Yeah, because you know something? I prefer Waitrose, yes! Waitrose is the way to go.
No.
Yes, none of this Asda business. Yes, we're not having that. So, very pleased to be with you today.
Waitrose sells genetic
They're not as bad as Walmart
Right.
though.
So, anyway, somebody said something about this GM food. Is that, what's that? It's, is that the food for the masses or something like that? Is that general food for the masses?
Take over the food supply.
GM, it's general food for the masses. Yes, I don't like that either, you know. So, anyway, it's a nice day, so enjoy the food, enjoy the picnic, and thank you very much for giving me such a warm welcome here today. Thank you very much.
Okay, so next speaker is Graciela Romero from War on What? Yeah. Sorry, I probably mispronounced your name terribly, but.
Hello everyone, I'm Graciela Romero and I work with War on Want and with many peasants and landless people all over the world. I just came back from Jakarta and there was the 6th International Conference of the largest movement, social movement, La Via Campesina. Who knows about La Via Campesina? Yeah! Viva La Via Campesina! For those that might not know about the movement, this movement came about the struggle of peasants, the struggle for land initially. That was the first motive. In 1993, that was the first thing when peasants were pushed outside the land. But the movement grew, and now it's bigger and bigger than at that time. But the most important thing is now they consolidated what they call the food sovereignty framework. Who knows about the food sovereignty? Okay, I think it's really, really important for us to defend our food, to know what is food sovereignty. It's nothing to do with the Queen or with the royal here in the UK. It's about deciding what we're going to eat, how we're going to produce it, how we're going to distribute, who has control on the resources, all of that. That's food sovereignty. And I was talking about La Via Campesina. 3 days before, there were many farmers from all over the country, from all over the world, from all continents, 9 regions. And they were saying that the G8, the leaders of the G8, are deciding the future. The group of the unaccountable and the private club of the G8 are deciding where they are going to go to grab land, to take seats, or for that matter, to take people to exploit them as cheap labor. And they are opposing this. They are opposing the G8. But more importantly, they are ensuring and they are working towards the food sovereignty. They are saying it's not just about, it's not an alternative model. The alternative is the industrial agriculture that the G8 and corporations, agribusiness, set up in this world. The original way of producing food was the farmers, and that's what they are still defending and promoting, and that's the food sovereignty. The food sovereignty is saying everyone has the right to food. No one has to go hungry, and everyone has to decide the right food, the food that they want to eat, culturally appropriate. They don't need to eat every single thing or the bread that is imposed all over us. Everybody can decide what they want to eat. Part of that, they are saying we want agrarian reform. What that means is that you have access to land, but also you have ways of producing. You want also control of how you produce your food. And then a part of that, they want to promote the agroecological way of producing. I know someone else is going to talk about permaculture, so I'm not going to expand on the technique on how we can produce food in a more healthy and sustainable way without destroying the planet. Let's don't confuse the idea of sustainable way that Monsanto's and Cameron's are talking about. It's the real sustainable way and where we can produce food for everyone. The food sovereignty is also talking about reorganizing trade. There's no WTOs possible within the food sovereignty. The WTO has to go because they are controlling how we trade. They are controlling who trades with who and what. So that's reorganizing the trade. This is what food sovereignty is talking about. It's also an important thing is thinking about governance. If we don't have democratic control on the food, but also in the way that we relate to each other, if we don't tackle issues of gender, on class and ethnicity and race, we are going to continue having the same problem that we have. So we need to tackle those issues. And exactly in this conference, they were highlighting the issue about women. Women are the main producers of food in the world. 70% of the world is produced by small-scale farmers. Most of them are women. But they don't have access to land. If they have access to land, it simply is in the name of their husbands, and they don't have access to the sales. So the issue about women in the food production has to be tackled. The issue about class has to be tackled. The joke about some people being able to buy in Waitrose and other people have to buy to Tesco or in Asda. Or if you go to a poor area, in that Tesco you are not going to be able to buy the same that you buy perhaps in Canary Wharf. So we need the food, the access to food has to be equal for everyone. No, there's no discrimination, there's no segregation allowed with food, because food has been used as a weapon. So that has to be tackled, and that's what La Via Campesina, with the food sovereignty framework, is talking about. It's not just about how we produce the food, it's how we distribute the food as well, and how we relate to each other in the society. And that's democracy in the food system as well. So that's those elements, but also the food sovereignty is talking about peace. And this is a very, very important issue. It's not peace without justice. It's peace when everybody feels that it is equal and also has the right access to what they need. So all of this is the food sovereignty framework. It's the idea that the whole global food chain has to change. And it has to change with the people's decision. It's not with the GL leaders' decision. Peter was talking about the new alliance. This is not it's not a new thing. It's a very old thing. If you think what happened in Africa, in Latin America, in Asia with the first colonialism, imperialism, that was the first plunder. That was the first plunder, and that's why countries like UK, like in Europe, are rich. Because people in other countries were exploited and were taking all their resources. But now it's happening here. Now in the UK it's also happening. Who owns the land in this country? Do you know who owns the majority of the land in this country?
0.6% of people.
And who is, the majority is with the Queen. The majority is with the royals. And people here, you know, because you are part of that movement, reclaiming the fields, people squatting to get the land, grow Heathrow. Many people are taking the land because there's plenty of land in this country, but it's not distributed. People here should be calling for agrarian reform. This is not an issue of the the poor countries, or people there in other countries dying of hunger. It's also here. Yeah. And that's what La Via Campesina is saying. globalization of the struggle, globalization of the hope. And it globalizes understanding that we share the same problem, that we have to fight for the same enemy, the capitalism, and the David Camerons, spending £395 million on the new alliance. Money going to whom? To the corporations. I'm not going to repeat again, but it's to make clear that that new alliance is not new. It's an old alliance. It's the same old story. You might have heard that people in India died because of the debts that they had, but they bought all the chemicals and fertilizers from companies, and they had to kill themselves because they couldn't pay. Well, now it's going to be worse. They don't even have to. They don't need to buy the thing because they don't have land where to produce. They are going to be just basically workers for the companies. So we need to understand that this is not just a problem. It's our problem here. It's your problem. And when we understand that, we become part of the solution. Oh, another problem that we have here is that many people are believing that NGOs, the charities as we call it, are resolving a problem with Cameron. And many people have been joining the IF campaign that you know, or you might know, a cozy deal that the NGOs are having with Cameron to continue spreading the corporation's power on food in the name of hunger, saying that we need more food. But actually, we don't need more food. If you see here the amount of food that is wasted, it's unbelievable. And also here, you are eating in the food banks food that is already rotten. But at the same time, we see all the Tesco's and Asda's of the world wasting the food. So going back to the issue about globalization of the struggle, it's very important that we understand that this issue about the new alliance, that corporations and GA leaders taking land, is not their problem, it's your problem as well. And we invite you to sign the petition. I don't know if you have seen it, but there was a petition that is going around, and the UK Food Sovereignty Movement, who is formed by people like you, people like organically, you might know, or growers, people who distribute food, some organizations working in development, and that you can find that in the web of War on Want or the UK Food Sovereignty Movement web. It's www.waronone.org. It's important to keep signing the petition. We are going to sign the petition and send it to the G8. We know that perhaps this is a drop in the ocean, but it's important to keep reminding them that we are here and we are not going away. We are going to keep fighting for this issue. And this is just one element, because in many other places people are also fighting for that. In countries like Honduras, for example, people have been killed by paramilitaries, by companies, in complicity with governments, because they are defending their land. And we need to be in solidarity with these people. We cannot forget that people there are dying, because also here the problem is here. Because governments like this one is in complicity with the World Bank, with the WTO, with all of these institutions that we know, in complicity taking the land and the resources from people. So I want just to leave this saying that we need to remember what is food sovereignty. It's a whole framework. It's a framework that talks about politics, talks about distribution of food, talking about how to produce the food, and especially talking about not wasting the money, your money, taxpayers' money, in corporations. We need to keep reminding the food sovereignty is the way to become a democratized food system where everybody has the right food and is not in hunger. So just remember that, and then remember that there are millions of peasants struggling for this. That this is not just one tiny minority. This is not just us here. It's a lot of people, millions of people fighting for this, for the food sovereignty and for the peasants of the world. Thank you. Bravo.